Yo guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we need to talk about the worst team in the NHL right now in the Chicago Blackhawks. A team that has started off horribly with an 0-5-1 record, last place, dead last, 32nd overall in the NHL. And with that horrible start, we've seen some speculation and some rumors that we could see some big changes in the front office, but also with the team itself. Now when it comes to Chicago, what has truly gone wrong for them so far? What can they change? And what moves will Chicago make in the next few weeks to alleviate the problems on this team? Watch till the end for all the trade rumors and all the latest Blackhawks news, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are new. 60% of the people that are watching are not subscribed. If you like hockey, this channel is the place to be. Now, we were talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs and how disappointing their season has been so far, at a 2-3-1 record, but that is cupcakes and sprinkles compared to what the Chicago Blackhawks have gone through so far this year. Once again, winless this season up to this point, and they're the only team with Arizona that has not gotten a win this season. But the Arizona Coyotes have an excuse. They want to be this bad. The Chicago Blackhawks were the offseason winners according to a ton of different people, and wanted to make a huge impression and have a much better year than they did last season, and eventually be a playoff team. And that has been the exact opposite of what's actually gone on this season. They've looked so much worse than last year in almost every single way, and it's poised to be a stinker of a season for Chicago, and one that should have been so much better from the get-go. Now, before we get into the moves that Chicago's been rumored to make over the next few weeks, we first need to give some context to the Chicago situation and just give some idea to how bad they've truly been, because they have been pretty legendarily bad. Now, I want to say this first off, the 5-on-5 play is really the biggest problem, and it reflects in almost all these stats. Now, right now, they're 25th in goals scored, and they're dead last in goals against. 27 goals in 6 games played, which is horrendous. But the special teams is actually pretty good. They're right now at a pretty good percentage, 10th in the NHL in power play, 27.3%, and then on the penalty kill, they're 4th in the NHL with a 90.9% penalty kill. They have 31 shots per game, which is around average, 18th overall. But then we get into the expected goals for percentages and expected goals against, which are 5-on-5, and they're 31st in expected goals for per 60 and 25th in expected goals against per 60. When that 5-on-5 play happens, Chicago has just been dreadful this season. When they're on this penalty kill or on the power play, they can make things happen, but 5-on-5 has been legendarily bad on offense, defense, and goaltending. It has been horrible across the board, and nobody can seem to get anything done at 5-on-5 to save their lives. And when we look at the top scores for Chicago, it just continues to reinforce that they can only get stuff done on the power play. Now, their top 5 scorers are Patrick Kane at number 1 with 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points in 5 games played. Seth Jones at 4 assists, 4 points in 6 games played. Kubalik with 3 goals, 3 points in 6. Then you got DeBrincat, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points in 6 games as well, as Kirby Dach having the same stat line. But with all of those players, a majority of their points are coming in the power play. Out of Kane's 5 points, 4 of them are on the power play. Out of Seth Jones' 4 points, 3 of them are on the power play. Kubalik, 2 power play points. DeBrincat, 3 power play points. Dach, 1 power play point. You get what I mean. A lot of this production is coming with the extra man, and on even strength, on 5-on-5, it has not been a consistent product whatsoever. They have been snake bitten at times for sure, but the 5-on-5 play has been atrocious on defense and on offense. And if that continues, Chicago is dead in the water before they even got their season going in the first place. Now, that terrible even strength play on offense and defense has led to the goaltending also being absolutely horrendous. And when we go to Marc-Andre Fleury, the guy who just won the Vezina Trophy this last season, he is on track to have one of his worst seasons in history. Might be his worst season right now if he continues this trend. In 4 games played right now, he has an .839 save percentage and a minus 8.79 goals saved above expected, which is second last in the entire NHL. Now, the save percentage is big because that can also be inflated by terrible defense, but the goals saved above expected, that stat right there calculates as well the scoring chances against and calculates if a goal should be saved or not. And when it comes to Marc-Andre Fleury, yes, the defense has been terrible in front of him, but Fleury has also been extremely bad this season. I know what a lot of people right now are saying, oh, Fleury, poor Fleury. He had the chance to retire. People don't realize that. He had the chance to retire. He was even contemplating it at the last second Kraken decided to choose Chicago. He chose this path, and he's been absolutely horrible this season, and I think he is one of the main reasons why Chicago has struggled up to this point. I don't think all of it is on him. The defense has still been bad, but Fleury has definitely not been up to snuff, and is not even close to the numbers he put up last season in his Vezina Trophy campaign. Then you also have Kevin Lankinen as the backup, who's played 3 games as well. Not too much better, but he has been better, at an .884 save percentage and a minus 1.19 goals saved above expected, which is 19th last in the NHL. Although Lankinen is also negative, he hasn't been nearly as bad as Fleury has, and Fleury as a starter has definitely been one of the most disappointing goaltenders in the league this season. There has been still a couple of games that were within reach for Chicago. Obviously, the 1 point they got in this season was in that overtime loss for the New Jersey Devils. That was definitely within reach, and the Blackhawks, at points, it's crazy they did not win that game. I mean, it's just horrible looking at what they've done since then as well. Also, that game versus the Canucks was within reach for a little bit there, and the Blackhawks once again let the game slip by them and let the Canucks continue to roll and get momentum until they eventually won, and the Blackhawks just kind of died out without a whimper. There's been games like that where they've been close, but if the closest game you come to winning is a game against the New Jersey Devils where you just allow it to run away from you automatically into overtime and let Jack Hughes just run all over your defense, then it's a pretty bad sign going forward, don't you think? I mean, when it comes to that defensive structure, when it comes to the offense and even strength, it just seems like this Blackhawks team is disoriented. It seems like the locker room is disoriented. The leadership there doesn't know what to do. Everything from head to toe has been an absolute disaster. And with a lot of the play so far, we saw yesterday in the Detroit game, there was a chance of fire Colliton in the stands. And Colliton, I'll say this, I think deserves to be fired. I don't think he's done as good of a job as he should have. I think this Blackhawks team should have a win at the very least. But let's not kid ourselves here. Firing Colliton and calling it a day would be just the same thing over and over for the Chicago Blackhawks. For me personally, yes, Colliton is a guy to fire, but if you're going to fire somebody, it starts at the very top with GM Stan Bowman. This is the 3rd longest tenured GM in the entire NHL, and this is the team that he's put out there. They've been a horrible team so far, and let's be honest, yes, the coach has been bad, but it's the GM's job to give the coach the right players to work with and get the right players that work under the coach's system. Obviously, that has not been the case so far, and the Blackhawks have been awful because of it. But also, I think there's a lot of blame to be put on the players and the actual teammates there. They have not been good enough. The management has not been good enough. The coaching has not been good enough. And every single way you look at it, I think they should just give up on the season and try again next time. I think that might be the least painful option. And you could see even last night with Jeremy Colliton giving the whiteboard to the players to drop their own play to score a goal at the end of the game. That's a great example of what Chicago's going through right now, that their own head coach doesn't even have confidence in himself to coach the NHL team that he coaches correctly. That is the position we're in with the Chicago Blackhawks. And obviously there was fire Colliton chance, and I do think Colliton does deserve to be canned. But if you're going to do it, if you're going to fire another coach, start with the guy that gave all the confidence in the coach that you want to fire in the first place. Go after the GM that created this mess in the first place in Stan freaking Bowman. I don't know how this guy is allowed to be the 3rd longest tenured GM in the NHL right now. With all he's done, he really should have been fired when the Panarin and Saad trade happened, and Chicago's obviously given him chance after chance, but when does it end for this guy? So many terrible decisions, so many terrible management decisions. And if you just fire Colliton, it's going to be the exact same situation as the Joel Quenneville situation, where you're putting a Band-Aid on a stab wound. It doesn't help anything whatsoever. And the stab wound that you need to heal is Stan Bowman as GM. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. This guy has run this team to the ground. He's been allowed to ride the team and try to make them as competitive as possible at the Cup wins. After that was an absolute failure, he was allowed to retool the team and rebuild the team. After that was a failure, he decided to go jump the gun and go right after a huge competitive sprint, getting Seth Jones, Fleury, a bunch of big names to save his butt as GM, and now that's failed. And we're still getting word that Bowman is safe as GM? how does this guy even allowed to do this? And it goes back to all the off-ice stuff as well. This past offseason, and all the Blackhawks have been allowed to get just to have happen. I mean, it's crazy what is going on here, and it's crazy that Stan Bowman is still an NHL GM with Chicago. If you fire Colliton, it's just going to be the exact same thing over and over again. If you fire Stan Bowman, you might get some actual change, and I feel like with the Chicago team, that is exactly what's needed right now. So just imagine this, you're an NHL GM of an original six team that again prides itself on being prestigious and having a lot of history and everything. Imagine you're the GM of that team and you've been the GM for 12 years now, since 2009. And you traded one of the best wingers in the entire NHL for a winger that you gave up a couple years later for Nikita Zadorov. You then as well, after trying to save your butt, acquired Seth Jones, gave him a $9.5 million contract for the next 8 years, traded a boatload of assets for him, only for him to stink it up quite a few times this year. You also traded for Marc-Andre Fleury for free, which you thought was going to be a great deal. No, he's been awful because that's just what happens to you. And you think, okay, yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm kind of screwed. I've done a horrible job. I should not be an NHL GM. But wait, your name is Bowman. You have Bowman as your last name, and that means you'll be an NHL GM forever. It doesn't matter what you do. You can trade Artemi Panarin for a guy you give up a couple years later. If your last name is Bowman, you are all right. And that's how the NHL works. That's how the Chicago Blackhawks work. And guess what? If it doesn't matter what you do, you'll still be an NHL GM. So congratulations, Stan. You might be bald, but hey, you got everything going for you. You'll be there for another 20 years. So congrats on that. So, I mean, for anybody that actually is smart and wants to be an NHL GM someday, forget about it. Might as well just change your last name to Bowman, right? I don't even know what to say anymore. The Chicago Blackhawks just disgust me right now. You can tell. Just so I have so many thoughts on this team right now. But if the Blackhawks do end up firing Bowman, firing Colliton, it might eventually be okay for them, but it seems like they're going to ride the course, trust the process. When the process has failed, you're going to fail anyways. So when Chicago fails this year and fails in seasons after this, do not be surprised whatsoever, because it's Stan Bowman, and this is what happens. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you did enjoy this breakdown of the Blackhawks' horrible start as well as their pretty bleak future, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Comment down below, what do you guys think of the Chicago Blackhawks? Am I overreacting right now? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this team? How do you think they'll finish? What do you think they should do? What moves should they make? Who should they fire? Who should they trade? I want to know all your thoughts down in the comments down below. Make sure you share this video with your friends. Get it to any hockey fans you guys know out there online, and click on this card right here for all of my hockey rankings content right in one playlist. My name is Nathan. Have a great day. I'm sorry, Blackhawks fans, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.